Welcome back to Comic Universe, the only nerd-centric thing you need in your life. DPZ rolling solo again with another comic book review. And this time around, I'm going to be talking about Black Lightning, Cold Dead Hands, the DC miniseries that reintroduced Black Lightning, well, kind of reintroduced Black Lightning to the DC Rebirth timeline. And yeah, I'm going to be talking about this. This comic also comes from our friend Mount Vernon Kid. Chris, I know you're watching, so thank you again for this comic book. And we'll get into it. Now, this is a 6-issue miniseries that has Black Lightning going to Cleveland and being its new hero, while taking on Tobias Whale. And the whole crux of the story is that alien weaponry is being handed out to gangs throughout Cleveland, and Black Lightning and the police are trying to stop it. But the police and everyone, even social media, is making the situation worse because of the whole us versus them kind of mentality. Now, right out the gate, this is going to deal with some race. This comic does deal with a lot of real-world issues, but it doesn't hit you over the head with it. Like, it really doesn't beat you over the head like some of what Marvel did in some of their comics, where, in those cases, it was more like the writer standing on a soapbox and writing this all out. The writer of this comic, by the way, is Tony Isabella, the co-creator of Black Lightning, which was cool to see him in here. But yeah, getting back to the point, sorry, I'm still coming down from a cold, so you'll have to excuse the sniffling and the rough voice. But anyway, so in this comic, see, I told you. In this comic, we have basically this whole storyline of Black Lightning trying to keep these alien guns, and there's no like big evil plan. There's more like, yeah, this is alien technology in the hands of gangbangers. That's a bad thing. And honestly, that's something I don't see often done in comic books, because you would have to imagine that with all the aliens that come to Earth and wipe shit out, and, as many times as the Justice League defeat them, there had to have been someone who took those guns and went, hey, I'm gonna kill them here. And yes, I'm aware, this is basically the same plot as Spider-Man Homecoming. But again, it's a topic that no one really touches. No one really does. I have yet to see, other than this and Spider-Man Homecoming, really play with this kind of concept. Because it's like, that's technically an open market when you think about it. If you existed in the Marvel or DC universe, that makes a lot of sense to, like, hey, let's go into business and sell shit that is way more powerful than an AR-15. So, yeah. Anyway, so Black Lightning in here is trying to combat Tobias Whale, who is a lot different from the comic or TV iterations you've seen. In here, he's not albino. In fact, they actually state that this is the real Tobias Whale, where I was like, okay. Which the albino Tobias Whale was murdered by this one because he was using his identity. And I was like, okay, that's really, we're going with this route of, the name Tobias Whale has been used by many criminals, but this is the real Tobias Whale. I'm like, really, we're doing this shtick? Okay. Also, and this is going to be a little jarring for some readers, is that some shit in here is mentioned but never explained. Like, Whale's assistant, Miss Pequod. She is a Durlan, a shapeshifter. Black Lightning has his own crew. They don't really go much into it. And, one of his friends, Usagi, is a Durlan. He is a Durlan. They just say, oh, I'm a Durlan, and they move on. There's even a villain in here named Sears, who is a Snake Man. Why is he a Snake Man? Fuck if I know. They don't talk about it. They just move on. In fact, he actually goes by a supervillain identity called White Thunder, which, by the way, when Black Lightning's giving his thoughts about, this new villain he has to fight called White Thunder, he's like, motherfucker. Paraphrasing, of course, but that's basically what he's saying. So, yeah, there's just shit in here that they don't explain, and I think that's the whole point, is that Tony Isabella was trying to basically be like, yeah, it's a comic book, and we live in a DC universe, so why wouldn't there be aliens and snake people in here, and using alien guns? Excuse me. Yeah, so that was kind of the idea, was that, I feel like that was the idea for Tony Isabella, was that, like, yeah, it's a comic, you know, I'm writing a guy who can shoot lightning out of his hands. Anything's fair game, right? Anything's fair game. But while this world does have a lot of fantastical elements, in here we deal with some real-world issues, like, again, the cops killing an unarmed man, on the sole grounds of he was black, and he didn't pay attention to my orders, and also nearly lighting up two kids who accidentally used their father's alien gun he got to essentially accidentally kill two people and almost shoot them on the spot because it's you know, they're considered armed and dangerous even though they're like 12 years old. And when the cops do get you know, caught with that, they only get a mild suspension. Or what happens? Again, real world shit that happens. We also have, you know, what I also like about this comic is that even though, you know, Black Lightning saves the day, that doesn't really mean that the world clears up after that. You know, you know, there is some stuff like bigotry and what have you that still remains that Black Lightning has to deal with. So I like that, you know, there is some impact into this series, but really, you know, it does give you some real-world stuff without being overly, you know, it really beats you over the head. Like, this comic really walks a good line of being like, yeah, it's a fun superhero comic, but at the same time, you know, it addresses real-world problems without beating you over the head with it. It makes you realize, oh, that's fucked up. But it doesn't this is what I also like, is that it doesn't, like, if this was another writer who, like, because Marvel did this for a while, where they went overboard with some of their stuff. And I don't mind having SJ, you know, you know, when people say, oh, Marvel or DC's being so SJW, to which I respond with, that's comic books in general. Marvel and DC have been SJW since Captain America clocked Hitler in World War II. So there's nothing new. But I think the problem was, over at Marvel, was that a lot of writers got to stand on their soapbox and really demonize certain groups. Thankfully, Tony Isabella doesn't do that here. He actually paints it in a light that not every cop is out to get to get a black man because they're black. He really shows that not every cop is a racist with a gun. He does really slam into the NRA, which is cool because, yeah, it's the NRA. They deserve to get slammed. Anyway. But anyway. But it's not like over the head. That's the other thing, is that it's not like over the head. There's just like these little punches that Tony Isabella gives to certain groups because, yeah, this guy clearly knows how the system works. So, I like that. And there's some great action in here. The artwork is great. If you're looking to get into Black Lightning comics, then this is the comic for you, guys. This is really the comic for you. This was actually my first time reading Black Lightning on his own. It was really cool. I really enjoyed this. Chris, if you're watching, thank you so much. Yeah, this was a fun adventure series that really hit home some issues that I think the world needs to address. But at the same time, it plays fair with it. That's what I like, is that it plays, you know, it plays fair at the same time, rather than really going all out on, you know, demonizing certain groups. So it plays, Tony Isabella is what I'm trying to say, is Tony Isabella really did his work in here. But yeah, as I said, this is the first time I've read Black Lightning on his own, and considering it's kind of funny because the previous video we just posted on here was about the cancellation of Batman and the Outsiders, which had Black Lightning on the team. Yeah. So, like I said, if you're watching the new CW Black Lightning show and you want to get into something good with Black Lightning, I'd say check out Cold Dead Hands. But guys, that's pretty much all I had to say. This was a great comic. Chris, thank you once again. And if you're new here, remember to Hulk smash that subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications, as well as join the World's Mightiest Subscribers. And we'll see you once more again in the universe.